Hello, welcome to the I Hate Marketing podcast. I'm excited, but I'm also a little bit nervous because I haven't recorded a podcast episode in probably like almost a year. So let's back up, right? In case you don't know me, which I'm sure a lot of you don't, especially because I'm putting this on YouTube and I'm basically risking a lot to put this on YouTube because I feel like I'm going to get roasted in the comments, but that's okay. Anyways, so I am Lexi. I am 22. That's only relevant because when I first started my first podcast, it was called the 21-year-old CEO because I was 21 years old. I had two businesses at the time, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know. I play on the fact that I'm 21 and I'm a CEO." But then obviously I'm almost 23 now, so I just feel like I got tired of explaining it to people. So I like got rid of anything 21-year-old CEO related. So that's why I said I'm 22, and now I'm already ranting, and this is already getting way too off track, but that's okay. I'm going to keep it real. I had this whole thing scripted and I tried recording this and it just felt so freaking awkward, like reading from a script. So I have my little outline. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, yes, I'm filming this with Zoom. Actually, I don't think you knew that, but I'm filming with Zoom. My goal is to eventually have like my own like setup and like a nice camera and whatever. But right now we're just working with what we got. So anyways, hi, I'm your host, Lexi Denike. And in this podcast, I'm literally reading from my script now because I feel like I'm getting nervous. In this podcast, I cover all the reasons why I hate marketing, but also what I love about it and how I've used all my trials and tribulations to grow as a business owner. I don't even know if that last sentence makes any sense, but I just felt fancy for putting trials, and I don't even know if I'm even saying that right. So that's something you're going to notice about me is I'm horrible at grammar, which is funny because I'm going to kind of give a little backstory as to how I even got started in this space. And you're going to be like, if you're a horrible writer and you're bad at grammar, then why did you do what you did? So anyways, let's get into it. So, I mean, obviously, oh my gosh, I kind of feel like I should start with explaining why I named this podcast the I Hate Marketing podcast. That's a pretty bold statement to make. So let me just explain. So the first episode is going to be about basically my beef with marketing. You might be wondering, okay, what is the deal? Like you've been working in marketing, like blah, blah, blah. So let me quickly explain. Also, I don't have a podcast editor, so I'm keeping all of my like mess ups in here. You just have to work with me, you guys. Like you just got to work with me for a little bit until I can figure my stuff out. Also, I'm trying not to cuss because I'm putting this on YouTube and I eventually would like to monetize this. So let's go back to 2018, right? I started out in marketing then because I was tired of working for stupid people. I'm actually being serious. I feel like I had so many jobs. I've worked at a gym, I've worked at Jamba Juice, I've worked at restaurants. I was a nanny, I was a personal trainer. I've done it all. What haven't I done, honestly? And I'm kidding, kind of. And so I was like, okay, I'm sick and tired of working for people. I was in North Carolina at the time with my ex-husband, and I'm like, all right, I got to figure myself out. So my ex-sister-in-law actually was working for a marketing agency in Australia. And I was like super into what she was doing. I was like, damn, you're living your best life. Like you're working from home, whatever, whatever. And she's like, well, let me see if my boss will let me give you some work just to try. Right. And keep in mind, when I say agency, it was just them too. Okay. And so at the time, it was just strictly SEO and Google Ads work. I was really freaking confused the entire time because I just was like jumping straight into it, right? Like I feel like search engine optimization and Google Ads are not the best places to start. Maybe like graphic design and writing captions would have been a better entry point. But no, I went all in, dude. Like and I didn't really learn a lot though, because it was just us three and they were super busy and they would just give me random shit, which was nice. Like I was actually doing work with Air New Zealand and a ton of other like big Australian brands. So I feel like I got really lucky with like my first exposure to marketing. However, that kind of faded out because they got slower, like their agency had less work to do. My ex-sister-in-law Kalila, she actually started like doing work for other people. So eventually my place there was non-existent. And so I kind of was like, that sucks. So I started working for Michael's, the craft store, which sucked. Literally, I was waking up at 2:00 in the morning to go unload shipment, which, I I would literally never do that again, ever. Even if I had to like choose that over like, I don't even know, I just wouldn't do it. It sucked. It was freezing. And so this was the end of 2018. But at the time I was like dabbling into Upwork a little bit, but I thought Upwork was like a scam. Like I didn't like understand the concept of freelance, what even that was, you know? But in 2019, like literally in January, I started freelancing like actually for real. Like I realized, okay, this is a real thing. I can make money from it. But I was only doing blog writing work, which was actually good money at the time, but I fucking hated writing all day. Like as I said, I even wrote this in my notes. I'm not really the best at grammar. So I did this like writing job for this guy that owned like a content marketing agency. So he would basically like write blogs for a bunch of businesses, but outsource all the blog writing. So this guy was making bank, and I was actually making good money at the time for that. And then I ended up getting a writing job, like a director of content marketing at a startup, and that was fun. I was really involved with them for about 9 months. And then I actually got a job with Clever Real Estate. This is all freelance again. So I started working with Clever Real Estate, which was a real estate company that's like Redfin. It's like super cheap, like closing costs or whatever. And the editor hated me. I hate that guy. I think his name is Ruben. If he's watching this, I hate you, because I'm gonna sound like such a bitch right now, but it's like I'm the writer, right? Like I'm doing my best. I feel like what I excel in is my like creative like direction. And as the editor, it's like I felt like at the time it was his job to like fix my errors. You know, I tried my best, but it's like, so he hated me probably because he had to edit my shit so bad, or so much or whatever. See what I'm talking about? I'm really stupid. So, but I ended up getting fired because he got a promotion. So I hate that guy again. But this time I'm like already having a horrible taste in my mouth about marketing, because I had worked with a ton of assholes at this point, except the startup. Those people are awesome. Nate and I forgot the other guy's name, but they're awesome. And so that's so embarrassing that I just said that. Anyways, so here's the catch, right? I started hating marketing at a really like early point in my career with it, but that's because I was freelancing. So what did I decide to do? Even though I was already kind of having issues, I decided to start a whole fucking agency. Like I decided that it would be a good idea for me to create an actual digital marketing agency, even though my experience at the time was extremely like limited to just content marketing, Google ads, and search engine optimization. I thought it'd be a good idea to be doing email marketing and social media marketing and all this shit, because I just was like, I don't even know what I was doing. So I'm not gonna lie though, agency was extremely successful. I signed a lot of contracts. I was making really good money and working with actual like bigger companies. Like this guy that owns, I hate this guy too. I just sound like I hate everything. I really don't, but this guy was an asshole. He didn't pay me and stuff because I didn't have any idea about contracts at the time. I wasn't involved in the coaching industry. So it's like, I didn't have all these like entrepreneur lawyers like bitching at me all day to like get a contract in place, which I'm saying it's good that they do that, by the way. And so anyways, I had 2 employees and we worked really well together for a long time. But then I'm reading my notes because some of this is all confusing to me. But in December 2019, I ended up moving from North Carolina back to California. So January 2020 was when I did it, right? And so this ended up being the kickstart to my slow decline in the marketing agency world. Okay. So COVID obviously rolled her dumbass around in February, March. I can't even remember. I've blocked out that time in my life. It was so bad. 90% of my clients were non-essential businesses, meaning they were closed, which meant that they did not have marketing budgets anymore because they couldn't even afford to feed their families. And so I understood. I was like, okay, no big deal, dude. Like, but what ended up sucking about that was I lost like $7,000 a month in revenue. And I had just moved from a place where my mortgage was $900 to where my rent was $2,700. Okay. So I was broke, basically living in a state that was 4 times more expensive, right? I don't even know if that's correct math. I just wrote that down. So this led me to an insane depression and hating my career again, right? I had gotten excited for a while because I was making good money and my clients liked me. But then it felt like everything was all about the money for me. Like that's why I liked it so much, was because I was making good money at 20, 21 years old. And at the time my friends, were working for $10 an hour. And I'm like, yeah, I'm making 9,000 a month or whatever. And so I feel like that's what really kept me in it, which obviously wasn't the right reason to be in it. So I do want to backtrack a little. Oh, actually, no, hold on. I'm going to say something else. I had the hardest time finding clients, but not because no one was open, but because no one wanted to spend their money on marketing. Right. So some businesses were open, some businesses still needed marketing work, but I was not landing clients. My sales were horrible. Like my sales strategies were horrible. I wasn't on social media promoting my agency. I was using Upwork, and Upwork was full of a bunch of weirdos. So, but I am going to backtrack, like I said, to explain that in January 2020 was when I discovered the coaching industry with my good friend Krista. She owns a dietitian coaching business. She's absolutely amazing. And during this time, the coaching industry was super new to me. I didn't really understand the concept, but I was excited because I was like, well, okay, well, I've built this agency that makes good money. I know how to handle clients. I know how to do X, Y, Z. So I want to like mentor people, right? So I ended up, starting a little Instagram, and I grew like a decent following, I say the first time around, because I ended up going on a huge hiatus and lost a ton of followers, but I just couldn't sell for shit because I had no idea what to do. I was constantly like looking at what other people were doing because I had no idea what I was doing. Right. Like, it was hard to keep up with all like self-proclaimed boss babes who had like insane copywriting skills and endless amounts of photo shoots. It's like, I was just living in my apartment. Everything in California was closed and I had no money. So I feel like I was having a hard time starting out. So at this point, I'm spending 12 hours a day, on Instagram, on Upwork, trying to just figure my shit out. I ended up selling a few one-on-one spots in the summer, but I had no idea what I was doing. So Hannah and Madison, thank you so much for putting up with me, because yes, I had the knowledge, but I had no structure, and I appreciate you guys. So around July and August was when my marriage started going to shit. And I started to slowly resent my job even more, just because at that point I was just dying. I really hope my ex isn't listening to this. That's super embarrassing, or my, current partner. And so, my marketing clients were assholes though. Like, and that's my fault because I did not vet my clients very well, because again, I was very money driven. My clients never listen to a fucking thing that I ever said. Like, if I was like, hey guys, I need a video made, blah, 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 they'd be like, all right, cool, cool, cool. And then they would never get back to me. And then they'd be like, well, where's the video? I'd be like, I asked you about it 2 weeks ago. So it was super annoying. People had really high expectations. They always wanted, to grow their shit so fast. And I'm like, that's not how it is. Right. But I also didn't really understand how much work it actually was either. I feel like there was definitely a disconnect. And something I really want to mention that I feel like is not talked about enough is how hard social media really is. Like Instagram. So my next episode is going to be about why Instagram is kicking my ass right now. And it's just because it's hard. Like, I have to give it props to people who do social media marketing and they do it well, because it's like, you have to really immerse yourself into that person's account. Like, it's like, there's this brand that I'm obsessed with, their homemade social. That's their name on Instagram. And I mean, their branding is amazing. Oh, there's my dog. If you guys are on YouTube, then you can see that. He's kind of weird. So he just will sit there and stare at me. But anyways, oh, you can't see him. Anyways, sorry. For the podcast listeners, you have no idea what's going on. And anyway, social media marketing is hard. Like, seriously, I honestly get why people charge as much as they do, because of the amount of work that goes into it. So anyways, that's just, I got extremely burnt out. I wasn't charging enough. I wasn't really doing that well because I wasn't charging enough. So I was burnt out. And so fast forward to the fall of 2020, I'm divorced at this point. I ended up reconnecting with an old coworker from my Gold's Gym days when I worked there. And now him and I have been together for 9 months. As of July. But anyways, what no one tells you is that when you get a new relationship, you tend to want to ignore all your responsibilities because you are obsessed with that. Or it's just me. I just have codependency issues. So that's probably just me. Or if you guys relate, let me know, because it's super embarrassing for me to say out loud right now. But anyway, so I have a boyfriend, right? My divorce is being finalized. Business is still slow. Marketing is causing me so much anxiety that I literally just want to die every time I go to sit down at my desk. Oh my God, it was so bad. I wish I could show you what I'm thinking in my head of how depressing it really was, so you guys could get it. And I never really understood that marketing was the reason why I was feeling that way. Because I'm making money. Well, not at this time, but at the time I'm making money. I'm living in this beautiful house. I have whatever I want, basically. Why do I hate what I'm doing? Or why do I hate my life? Right? Why am I so depressed and never leave my house? And it was because of the work I was doing. I just was not happy doing it. I just felt like I had to, though. I felt like an imposter. I felt like I never knew enough, which I didn't. I didn't make it a point to educate myself as much as I probably should have. There's a lot of mistakes that I've made with my marketing career. I literally just had to, oh my God, I just had to check to make sure this was recording, because otherwise I would have been really pissed. Because this is so good so far. Anyways, so because I like didn't know enough, I ended up like charging really low prices, which meant I couldn't outsource, which meant I wasn't making profit like for a while. And so anyways, as you can tell, this is just a whole sob story, right? So let's move to January of 2021, right? And I'm moving to Texas with my boyfriend, and I still hate marketing. I lost a ton of clients because I either cut them off, or they just didn't have the money to pay me anymore, and I don't really blame them. So I'm thinking like I'm dating the man of my dreams. I have a business bestie who I talk to every day. I'm living outside of California, which I hated living in California. So I'm like, why am I still unhappy? It took me basically until June of 2021, so last month, to realize how much marketing was killing me. Like it took me basically ending a business with my business partner at the time and going through like a whole life-changing event in June that made me realize that I was miserable, and so I cut it off. I cut the business situation off with my partner, left the agency entirely, didn't look back, refunded people their money. I was like, I don't even want to do this work for you anymore. I'm sorry. Gave them their money back. But the thing is when I like tell you the relief that I felt after saying goodbye to all that, I mean, I'm like feeling the only thing that's stressing me out now is trying to build my coaching business back up, right? Because I didn't focus on it for so long, but I feel so free now from clients who drained my energy. It felt like I was working a 9 to 5 for 15 different people, like always on my ass about stuff. Like it was just super annoying. And now I feel like I could step into like what I really want to be doing, which is coaching and working on my 2 e-commerce businesses, which I didn't even talk about because my marketing agency consumed every fiber of my being. And so I felt like it was my personality trait at the time. It was, the first thing I told people when I met them, like it's what I defined myself as, but I was unhappy and I felt like I had to stick to a marketing agency to prove some sort of point. And I felt like if I didn't have an agency, I wasn't successful. If I wasn't busting my non-existent balls every day on marketing, I wasn't successful. And I was constantly looking at other marketing agencies thinking, what are they doing that makes it so enjoyable that I'm not doing? And so I don't want to take, I'm coming across as a big complainer, but I take full responsibility for the fact that all of that unhappiness was because I chose to stay in a career that I didn't like, and I was in it for the wrong reasons. Right. But I mean, here's the thing. So that's kind of what you guys get. So at this point, marketing agency is no longer. I do marketing consulting because here's the thing now, getting into what I love about marketing. Marketing is such a powerful tool. I've definitely been educating myself more on traditional marketing lately and neuromarketing and all of these different things like consumer psychology. And, it is so interesting when you finally step outside of just like the bullshit game of like, oh, let me make a graphic and do some hashtags for my client, right? Like, and so I now want to, pivot into marketing consulting, but most importantly, coaching. I love coaching. I love teaching. I love having a platform to be able to share knowledge, with. Does that make sense? And so actually the funny part about this podcast is I don't actually hate marketing, right? Like I love it. It's a tool we use to connect businesses with, client or customers. And what I hate doing is marketing for people. I love learning it and researching it and talking about it, but I hate doing it for other people. And I love doing it for myself. And I don't think that makes me selfish. I just, think that I should have stepped into a consulting role from the beginning. And maybe it was because of the clients I was working with, or maybe it was because I felt like I could never be enough. And I don't know. You never know. Or who knows what it was, but all I know is that now, like, I'm on a journey to share all of my marketing information without doing it for you. I want to teach you guys about marketing. I want to talk about owning a business because I have owned now 5. I'm down to just having 3, which has been way more attainable for me. So this podcast episode, I know it was really just a backstory. I don't know how many of you even stuck around for it, but at least now you kind of know who I am, where I'm coming from when I talk about how angry it makes me and why it seems like I have such like a chip on my shoulder about marketing. But I'm, this podcast won't be so depressing all the time. Marketing and we are building our relationship back up. One day, maybe him and I can be friends. Maybe marketing and I can be friends one day. But right now I just feel like a bitter ex that has a desire to talk shit about him constantly, and blames all my problems on him. But one day, through intense soul searching, I might be able to look at marketing in another light one day. So, but that's really all I have for this episode, you guys. This is super short. I'm so excited. Like, I felt like this is something that I needed to do. I needed to expand outside of just Instagram. I needed to, have a passion project. And I'm so excited. Like, I one day want to have a studio. I'm going to have guests on this podcast, probably around episode 4. I'm going to just do the first 3 by myself, most likely. And we're going to talk not even just about marketing. We're going to talk about business, because they go hand in hand, in my opinion. Every business needs marketing, right? So, next episode is going to be about Instagram. And then we're going to talk about TikTok on another episode. I'm so pumped because I've had some insane success on TikTok. And then a ton of other shit that I love and I hate. So I urge you guys to listen to the next episodes and give me a rating. If you can, please. If you're going to give me less than 5 stars, just fucking tell me why instead of actually doing it. That's so lame. I feel like, just kidding. That sounded really bitchy, but I urge you to listen to the episodes before you decide whether or not you want to rate me, and subscribe to my channel, because if you guys want to see my face and see eventually how we expand and grow. This is my office right now. It's so boring, but I'm excited because I think my partner and I have decided we are going to stay in this house for a few years. So I feel like I can now spend the money on, decorating it. So thank you. I will see you guys in the next episode if you are watching on YouTube, and I will listen. Oh my God, that makes no sense. I will talk to you guys in the next episode, essentially. So all my stuff is in my bio, and thanks. I don't have an outro yet, so goodbye.